All right. Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, your agent of awesome, X7, the host of Zenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters. Today we are looking at a definite horror movie, even though it's not your traditional sort of horror movie since it is from Japan. So it's a little different. It's not one of my favorite Toho movies, but it's a good movie. It's a really good movie. It's just because of I don't like mushrooms, is the long and short of it. But before we get too much further into it, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this movie, Matango or Attack of the Mushroom People. I've only seen it a handful of times. I bet you 5 total, counting this recent one. But let me know what you think about it in the comments and watch a little longer. You'll see what tomorrow's episode is going to be about. No, you won't, because tomorrow's a book review, and you will see at the very end. And then you'll see a trailer for Friday's movie. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, okay. All right, are you ready? Let's dive in. We start right off in modern day Tokyo, where a man is in an asylum or something, a mental hospital. Kenji Murai, Professor Kenji Murai. And he's being visited by a group of doctors who want to know what's happened to everybody else that was on the ship he had been on. So the movie's told in flashback, essentially. Now, the first time I saw this on Channel 2, I missed the beginning. So, I knew it was a Toho movie, so it had to be I'd probably be 10 or 11 years old. And of course, full screen and dubbed, which is the way I watched this. This print itself came from the Internet Archive, and it was the English dub. When it was released on DVD back in when I would say 15 years ago, it had both subtitles for the Japanese language track and the English dub because it was commissioned by Toho, so they own it, I guess. And it was good enough for AI, American International Television, to release that way. It's not a bad dub. You can hear very familiar voices. It was released August 11th, 1963, 3 years before my brother was born. Runs 89 minutes, 88 minutes, depending on the version you watch. I think the English version was released a bit, let's see, 88 minutes because they cut out all the commercials. Or all the credits here in the States. Attack of the Mushroom People is how I saw it. It was Fungus of Terror over in England, and which is not a bad title either. So, but we get the flashbacks here. Everyone's having a good time. There's 7 people on the ship, and of course there are comparisons to Gilligan's Island because there's the first mate, the skipper, the first mate, a professor, a millionaire, but one's a kind of a woman who's a singer, and then the other one's a student. So there's only 2 women. And then you've got an author, and I don't know who the other. Anyway, most of the cast, they do a great job, but they're kind of unlikable except for 2 people, and those you're kind of rooting for the mushrooms. So, Hideo Amamoto, Dr. Death himself, plays a mushroom. Nakajima-san, of course, does. Several of them actors played the mushrooms, people, the Matango. So let's keep going here. This won't be a very long review because a good at least a third of the movie is them bickering among themselves, which is not the most exciting. You see, there's the professor and Marianne. That would be Miki Yashiro as Akiko Soma. So they're the only 2 likable ones on the ship, really. The skipper and his first mate are not bad, but there's our singer singing a song, and beautiful photography. I mean, Ishiro-san did a great job here. Or Honda-san, pardon me. This is one of his mutant men movies with H-Man, Human Vapor. Well, let's throw in Secret of the Telegion as well. They're all probably drinking some kind of beer, except for the young lady. And then it's a dark and stormy night. And the tiny ship was tossed. This is a much bigger than the SS Minnow, but it was tossed. The girls aren't worried, but he's trying to radio people to get help, but the mast is down, and they're just not helping. See, they're all the crew is kind of self-centered. At least three of them are. So, dig the old radio, and they're still just wandering about at night. And then they see an island, a shrouded, mist-covered island, lovely miniature. Let's go. So they all just get aboard. We don't see if they must have thrown weighed anchor because they all land on the shore. Now, again, the photography is gorgeous. The music is wonderful. Who did the music here? The Sadao Beku. This was based on a story called The Voice in the Night by William Hope Hodgson. Let's go with that. I've not read that, but it's about the same sort of thing. There have been several fungus takes over people, including there's some show now, right? The Last of Us or some such nonsense. I don't know. Gray matter, the fungus, fruiting bodies, shadows on the grave. The Last of Us is about mushrooms. So, I mean, but we don't ever, interestingly enough, we don't ever find out anything about this island. Nothing. Which leads to the mystery. See, gorgeous scenery. That's the only sunlight is on the shore. And you'd think salt would be deadly to fungus, most fungus, right? But see, here they are, looking about. Then they find another wreck, and off they head because they don't have any food or water. It's really spooky. That's a great shot too. I can't, but it's covered in fungus. You're like, yeah, there it is, giant fungus just growing. So, did the ship, was it one that was mutating it? There's some talk of radioactivity because, of course, there was. It was the 60s, 1963. I don't know when it was broadcast over here in the States, but there's not a lot of special effects, so they didn't have to worry about those. Just the suits for the mushroom people. 1965. So there you see Matango. That's the kind of mushroom it is. So somebody knows something, but they look in there. The girls freak out, but they find a log. This guy's found the stash of food, and he's going to eat all of it because he found it. But again, they're not. They don't want to share. It's like Survivor. If Survivor were good, was a good show, because it has an end, and you'd think that people would want to work together and try to either share and help out and survive literally. But it is like Survivor. They just some of them just keep backstabbing each other. They want the women. A couple of them want the women. I mean, it's a great cast too. Where'd that go? Kenji Sahara's in it. Yoshio Tsushiya's in it. Hiroshi Koizumi. I mean, really good. And Akira Kubo, of course, would later on be Tetsui and the captain of the Moonlight SY-3, the greatest spaceship ever. So, but they do, and there's some gorgeous scenery here. See, some sunlight when you get up high enough, but then they get a flashback, and now they're still looking at mushrooms. They're trying to shoot this seagull, and I believe that's a cartoon animated seagull, but they miss. Then they see that there's a bunch of wrecks down here, bunches of wrecks. And they're like, what's going on here? It's a graveyard of ships without being in the Sargasso Sea. So, and they're kind of, a couple of them are kind of creepy toward the women. He is wearing a near Gilligan hat. Now, this did debut before Gilligan's Island. Somebody came up with a rumor that Sherwood Schwartz had been in Japan and seen this, and that's where he got the idea. And that's laughable. I mean, it's laughable There's precious little humor in this movie at all. It is dire. These people know that they're probably not going to survive, and they, just trying their best till someone can find them. There's more mushrooms. Uh-oh, something's back there. They don't know. They shoot at it, but don't see the, mushroom remains. They've caught him trying to steal food. He's a food sneak. And there's our first glimpse at a mushroom person. That probably is, I keep calling him Meisei Yamamoto, but it's Hideo. Minami the Toy Maker in 1970s Godzilla's Revenge. We'll get to it probably next month. Yeah, just great use of light and shadow. Spookiness, but that's just the girls. But that is not. There he is, more fungoid. Now, apparently, this was almost banned in parts of Japan because people thought they might be too looking like radio H bomb survivors or atom bomb survivors from the. But it's not gone into. It wasn't banned completely the way other movies have been. But nobody likes him anymore. But he's telling them they made it up, but there's footprints. And so yeah, it just keeps going on. I mean, it's intercut with some of the kaijin, strange men, strange people. It's not really a kaiju movie; they're not strange animals. But like I said, you never know where the mushrooms came from. Did they just spawn on this island? Did the radioactivity mutate them, or something else? Were they a scientific experiment gone awry? You just never know. You never find out. And finally, the first mate there decides he's going to eat the mushrooms because he's hungry and he wants to hallucinate. He does kind of sound like Dobie Gillis anyway, or not Dobie Gillis, but Maynard Ferguson, Maynard Krebs, whoever he was from The Loves of Dobie Gillis that Gilligan played first. So more threatening stuff. They're eating roots and turtle eggs, and everyone's all happy. He ate the shrooms because he's all, hey man. Now he's acting like Shaggy. He doesn't have the munchies because he's full on shrooms. The rich guy's paying him, and like, what if this money's no good to me? And they're still this couple's still going at it. And he says Japanese legends mention laughing mushrooms. So are they yokai? We don't know. We just don't know. But the tables get turned on him because the guy in the red shirt shows up and gets him. So they just kick him off there because he's going to turn into a mushroom. And another discussion, let's split the food and get out of here. And I don't know, everyone's gone. Oh, they find him. They save him for some reason. And out they go. He's going to take both girls because one of them is not good enough. She's just going along with him. I don't know. But one of the bad guys gets a drop on him, threatens to shoot him, but off they go. And then he shot the guy with the money, so he's dead. So one of them's dead by their own hands. He doesn't even get turned into a mushroom. It is useless money scattered. Greedy people. And now, guess who's eating the mushroom? That is Kumi Mizuno, who we've seen or will see and have seen, at least in this, in Frankenstein Conquers the World. We reviewed Frankie. And War of the Gargantuas, Monster Zero, which I know we reviewed. Yeah, she's the queen of the kaiju cinema. But there they are. You see them start growing with the rain. And I think these are the only three left at this point in time. See, she's eating the mushrooms. Her makeup's just a little subtly different to show that her mind's altered. He goes and eats them. Yeah, he has a trip, flashbacks and everything. Now the mushroom people are out and about. Ugh. Mushroom people, they're creepy. Now, are they completely, they don't, mushrooms don't look real as it is. You see a mushroom in the yard and you're like, what is that? Who decided that you could eat these and figured out which ones were not poisonous or hallucinogenic? But they're just kind of gross. I mean, they just don't look like they belong on this planet, really. I mean, they're just weird. And then they die. They just, So there's the note about the mushrooms that may have had a little more listing the names of those on the islands as dead and how, having run out of food or energy, this guy by Nayuki has jumped into the sea. So he's dead. Everyone's gone except for these two. Like, we got to go. Let's go. They decide they love each other. The mushroom people decide. This is the attack of the mushroom people, finally. The attack of a mushroom person. Chops his hand off because it's fungus. So obviously it replaces everything. The spores get into you and, I guess, replace everything. They don't take over. There's nothing there. It's not like they're trying to get off the island. And, that was my fear after I saw this movie as a 10-year-old, is that what if they got off the island and just spread about because no one saw them in time? But there's not really much of a battle here. I mean, they do grab Akiko, and Kenji goes after them and shoots bunches of them. And apparently the bullets can stop them or at least slow them down, because if you blow off a leg or two, you can't walk. Same thing with zombies. I never understood why you wouldn't. If you can't shoot their head, they're, just disable them. But yeah, it's a great action shot here. And they are laughing. They would, Subaraya would later use the deep sound of them laughing for the Bolton Seijin. So I'm sure there have been fungus monsters in various, plant monsters at least, in various Ultra shows. We know that from Coronia and Miroganda. So, but she's eating them. She's like, "Come live with me. We can be happy." But he's not having it. He's just blasting away. He runs away, gets on the boat, sets sail. Somehow they fixed it. Gets picked up, and now he's back in Japan, and he's, saying, "I should have stayed with her." And they're all like, they think he's hallucinated everything, but he turns around. He ate the mushroom, so he's slowly turning into one. What do they do now? They got to keep him quarantined. I'm sure that. Will they try to save him? But that's the end of the movie. And I'll tell you what, seeing that as a kid, 10 years old, 11 years old, when you see, even in a full screen and a black and white print, and most of us in the middle of the country saw black and white. I have a friend, lives in Nebraska, and he said the same thing. We saw black and white, and we were astounded to find there were full 16 millimeter prints that were in color, or very washed out color, as you can see by the beginning and the end of the movie here. And he says, "Well, I should have lived with her, because Tokyo's not much different than being on an island. I'm stuck in here for the rest of my life, whatever, as such as it is." And then we get the end, and that's the faded pan and scan print in color, possibly from Sinister Cinema. I don't know, or Something Weird Video, though there's no, either don't have logos in either of these. But that's the movie. It's dour. It's dark. Like I said, there's precious little humor. There's some at the beginning, but not much. And it's not something I watch regularly. It's not. I've seen it, like I said, maybe 5 times my entire life, because of course it disappeared from. It only aired once on Channel 2, and then that was in the 70s. I probably didn't see it again till the night for 15 years. And then the DVD came out. Watch then. So maybe 4 or 5 times. I like it. It's a good movie. It's just not my cup of tea. Horror. It's truly it's psychological. It's philosophical. It's metaphysical. It's full of isicles and things. It's just very strange, very dark. It's a nice change of pace from giant monsters. Even I can say that. But again, I'll watch Dagora or even the H-Man before I watch this again. There's nobody wins. And I don't like those movies like that. So, my fellow agents, after getting all philosophical myself, until our next assignment, which will be a book about dinosaurs, because we haven't done any dinosaurs, this is X7, signing off and phasing out.
You'll shiver and shake, quiver and quake, when you hear the unearthly, uncanny sound that signals hideous death, the sound of horror.
Now look here. There's a treasure worth $1 million in that cave, and no myth is going to stop us from getting it. I've spent years trying to find this treasure, and now that we're at the end of the rainbow, nothing is going to stop us.
Nothing that's human.
In the ancient caves of Greece, they seek a fortune and release a destructive force beyond control.
Close up all the windows and bolt the doors. And we thought that egg had turned to stone.
Maria! Are you all right in there?
I'm not going to be for long. Hurry, Pete!
They can't see it. They can't escape it. They can only hear it and fear it. Can only shiver and shake, quiver and quake at that blood-curdling, inhuman sound of horror.